So what I had to do today is I brought out a couple of my old bitty birds. If anybody's got chickens, they know what I'm talking about. So this hen right here was the one that raised a chick. She went broody, and I think she's around 5-6 years old. She's an old girl. They kind of start slowing down on egg production around 2.5 years old, and kind of are no longer what we consider like self-sustainable to keep alive at that point. A lot of people will call their chickens, send them to freezer camp, if you will, you know, that kind of thing, when they reach over that 2.5 years of age. The one in the back I caught breaking open eggs. So what these girls are now doing, I talked to Dan yesterday. There's our pheasant in the background there. I talked to Dan yesterday and I said, hey, we've got an insect problem. We're having a ton of crickets. And with crickets come mountain centipedes and scorpions. And so, you know, you got to get your prey insects under control so you don't have your predators coming around. So basically, I said, hey, I've got some of these really old hens. They're not going to have much meat on them. The meat that they're going to have on them, they're pretty much stewing chickens. Put them in the Instapot, and there's not a whole lot of, you know, it's chewy. It's kind of, it's delicious. I mean, they're still good. I would never waste an animal. And basically, we are meat eaters here on our homestead. I really believe in sustainable farming practices and giving these animals the best lives possible up until the time that their lives are taken for human consumption. So this is not, you know, this is not a sanctuary for farm animals. We are a homestead with self-sustainable living and trying to put food on our table. So, but I mean, I love these girls. They've been so good to me. And so I'm hoping what I can do is rotate and put them out to pasture, I guess, if you would, and put them to work as insect control. Because, you know, I do beekeeping and everything. I don't want pesticides used on my property. So we're going to see how good they do. I'm like, fingers crossed. So far they've been introduced to one of our dogs, Loose. I mean, our dogs know the chickens, but they know the chickens from the opposite side of the fence. So, so far one of the dogs doesn't even care. It could be because I'm out here watching her, but it's going to be the puppies. Whether the puppies are good, what they're gonna do. So what I did is just decided first is to bring out my two main problem hens, my snotty little bitty birds. So it's really fun. I really enjoy. I'm loving watching them, just being out here. Kind of, they have their freedom, and I love that. So you know, I have meat birds, ones that, you know, you go and you buy the meat bird chicks and you raise them specifically for slaughter, and they got great amount of meat and fats, and I mean they're just delicious, and they are juicy and tender. That's one thing. But these are my girls that have been raising eggs for us for a long time, and they've been with me for a while. And so I guess here I am, you know, trying to talk myself out of butchering them. And so I'm hoping that insect control is their new duty. If they lay any eggs anywhere, you know, that's their thing. You know, I'm hoping that they roost in the mesquite trees and are just going to be able to live out a really good life in their retirement. So there's that. So I'm heading down to the chicken coop area where the caged hens are, because we have a lot of predators out here. And so, you know, the ones that I've put free roaming is kind of a test to see how they do. And one of my big dogs, my 145, 150 pound dogs, decided to spent some energy this morning and chased those two hens. There was a ruckus, and I yelled, and she ran with her tail between her legs, but it traumatized the hens a little bit, or one. I don't know where one went to. The other one's doing fine. She just went right back to scratching and eating bugs. So that's all good. So I'm running down with some things, and I'll show you what they are in a minute here. This is just like supplemental feeding. If you've never had chickens before, they're pretty much velociraptors. So this is kind of funny. The duck knew what it was and went to start to eat it right away, but then the guineas let out a danger squawk, and the duck dropped it. So what you're seeing there is the carcass of a rattlesnake, and chickens and guineas, and they're known to kill snakes, and this is a high protein source. My chickens are eating on something else right now, and they're not even paying attention to the snake. Otherwise, everybody would be in there. Actually, they're eating on some old other stuff here. But yeah, the guineas are, I think this might be their first snake carcass, so they're having a little issue with it, and I don't blame them. Kind of scary. Kind of scary. So, the initial traumatized, oh, there's a snake in here, has worn off, and now the Muscovy hens are fighting over it. They absolutely go crazy over meats as well. I feed a high protein. I've got game bird diet in here. I've got layer pellets. I've got all kinds of high protein things, but they absolutely really need the supplements. The stuff that we make for them, this is what they would be feeding on in nature. They do kill snakes on their own, like I said, and eat them. So this is just a part of what really happens, and it's very healthy for them. This is like an all-natural diet. So to start out with, the snake carcass doesn't have any waste whatsoever. I took some meat off of it for snake finger appetizers that I'll be frying up, and I saved the skin and the rattles for craft projects, and the bones when the birds are done pecking all the meat that they can off of it. Then I will soak the bones and clean them up and kind of like sterilize them, I guess is what I would say. And when I bleach them, they become beautiful pieces for art projects as well. A lot of people make jewelry out of snake vertebrae, whatever. So that's something that, my definition of sustainability is no waste. And so I teach classes on how to utilize the entire rattlesnake. So if you're in the southern Arizona, Tucson region, you can come out to one of my classes on that.